Hello, welcome to my talk, OER Development, working with a collaborative community to create ancillary materials. My name is Alicia Huntoon, and I'm going to share with you the process I use in creating ancillary materials with a large group of other faculty members and college students. To start off with, as most of you know, open educational resources, or OERs, are being developed more and more. We've seen a lot of growth in this area over the past few years, and that has allowed faculty to adopt these materials for their courses. There are, of course, many reasons for instructors to adopt OERs. Just some of the possible reasons why they might be appealing to use. A big one is student affordability. As we know, college costs are increasing constantly, and they can be quite a burden. So if there are any ways in which we can reduce that burden, one of them might be the cost of materials used for the course. And oftentimes OERs are going to be a good option. Another good reason is accessibility. It can be accessible for students. And can be offered in multiple formats. And also it allows students to access materials immediately. They don't have to place an order or wait for something to be shipped to them, or have to deal with the possibility of a shipment gone wrong or somebody stealing books. So there's just many reasons for us to use OERs as instructors. Because of this increased recognition of need for these materials, and because there are more being developed, we see that there are a lot of options for the text, particularly at introductory levels. So intro level courses, there are a lot more options and availability out there. When we're looking at the upper level courses or more specialized coursework, sometimes it can be quite difficult to find something that is going to work well for a class. And so those are areas where we need more development. Another area where we could use a lot more development are the supplemental materials or the ancillary materials. And that is what the project I'm talking about is focused on, as the development of ancillary materials to go along with a currently existing OER textbook. All right, in order to kind of start the process, I had a class that I wanted to develop it for. For me, it was for social psychology. I wanted to identify some OER that I could use for the class. My course is set up where it's split up among two courses, but overall, most universities, they have this for a one semester course. Well, I looked for it, and you know what? I was really lucky. There were actually a couple of options available for this particular topic, and I thought, wonderful, because that's a big task to try and develop something all on your own. So I was really excited to see that there were some options available. However, when I looked into it a bit further, they didn't really have ancillary materials available. There really weren't any test banks available or slide decks, student study materials. And so that gave me a little pause because, as most of you are as well, it takes a lot of time to develop this stuff. I have a lot of demands on my time as it is. And then also, if I wanted to encourage another instructor, including an adjunct, to adopt this type of textbook, it's going to be a lot easier for them to do so if there are support materials already available for them to use. So rather than being completely deterred, I saw this really as a good opportunity for a professional development project. Well, I wanted to work on this with others and not just on my own. So in order to find collaborators, I decided to look at a conference that was available in this topic area. And there was a call for workshops. So I applied to host a workshop on developing an OER for that topic, and it was accepted. And it was that was really, kind of a key piece of this project, is the ability to then connect with others that have interest and expertise in that topic, but also maybe are going to be a little bit different in what aspect they're interested in, or what they most want to do. And also they're from many different types of institutions from around the country as well as internationally. So the group that got together that attended this workshop, we all sat down and kind of initially hashed out and figured out what the topic and the course that we wanted to develop the OER ancillary materials for. We agreed on focusing on a undergraduate course that is very popular and offered at all institutions. We also then agreed on the textbook. There were a couple of OER options at that time, and we agreed on the one that was the strongest. And also agreed that, yes, we are interested in this and also very busy, so let's all share the workload. When we identified some specific needs, we looked to recognize not just ourselves, but other instructors that we wanted to be able to create these materials for, in hopes that we would be able to help them out, as well as encourage the adoption of this OER for other undergraduate courses. We recognize the importance of Creative Commons licensing. And we said, the most important pieces that we needed to create were the slide decks, which would be formatted in an accessible and kind of basic structure so that they could be edited or altered according to an instructor's specific needs and desires. And then also a test bank. And we wanted to format it so that it could be easily integrated into Canvas, because that's where everyone in this project really saw it being used the most. In terms of the roles and workload of each member, each collaborator offered what they said they could manage. Everybody got to choose the number of chapters they wanted to focus on. They chose the topics they wanted to focus on, and there were really no gaps. We got lucky in that regard. Also, we had enough collaborators that no one was asked to take on more than what they were willing to do, that they were initially offering. So everybody was comfortable in their workload as well as the topic that they were working on. The project lead, which happened to be myself, I managed logistics, the communication among the group, and also compiling all of the materials and editing it. In terms of editing, this is a great area to get undergraduate students or graduate level students involved. I had a number of undergraduate students in this case assisting with the project, where they would go through and look at the slide decks and look at the test questions and check for any sort of errors, any inconsistencies. And what we found is that for the most part, everyone had put together some very quality materials. In the slide decks, the most common error tended to be there were some grammatical errors. There were a couple of people that English was not their first language. So it was just a little tidying up there. It wasn't anything major. And then the test questions, same thing. There were a few grammatical errors, but the most part was just making sure that it was formatted so that it would be easily integrated into Canvas. In order to disseminate the resources, so once we actually created them, kind of a really big question mark is, how are we actually going to get this out there for others to use? So recognizing the sensitive nature of the test bank questions itself were created in a password protected Google document so that it could be accessed by anybody. It was not connected with a specific university so that it can be accessible to, again, anyone, and it is not tied to somebody having a job in a particular university. And the website I have listed there is actually the place where the ancillaries are available. The slide decks are freely available. If you want to get to the test banks and open up that document, it just requires somebody to contact me. The information is on the webpage. And then I send the password to the instructors, which I verify that they are the instructor. The hurdles are only a couple of hurdles. One person did drop out, but then another person wanted to join in. Just making sure things were uniform. So again, the slide decks are uniform, the test banks are formatted the same. And some people needed to be a little bit, needed a little extra time. So there were some lateness on the submissions, but that was okay. So successes, ultimately, we finished it. We got more people adopting the OER. We had great success working together, and I would highly recommend it again. So it has a lot of benefits for both students and instructors. There's always more development needed. So just remember, if you are interested, do not hesitate. You're not alone. Reach out to colleagues, get students involved. It's really a worthy and rewarding endeavor. I encourage you all to do it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address is located there. Thank you.